I want to talk about a sermon that was very impactful on me. Um, the sermon's called Brokenness. Now, I don't want to mispronounce the guy's name. It's Vadi Bochum. I really don't know. So I did butcher his name. But regardless, um, uh, it's a the sermon's based on Psalm 51, and there's so much wisdom in that psalm. Um, and I kind of want to tell you what I saw and what I was experiencing during this time. So, um, first of all, the psalm is about uh, a sin that is weighed heavily on King David's heart. He um, he had done something, and he confesses to God that you know that he's done it. The sin is always before me, and he can't make it go away. He needs God to cleanse him. He needs God to lift him up. He needs God to hold him in his righteousness. He needs God for everything. It's where his joy comes from. It's where his wisdom comes from. It's where his salvation comes from. And it's an acknowledgement of all of those things. And I'm going to put a link in the description, and I hope that you watch it, because it will. I think you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't want to try and take away from the sermon by trying to imitate it or to recite it to you, because it would be a disservice to him. Um, and I mean, whoever put the music to it and added the production to it really did a nice job as well. There's two versions of the sermon. There's one of him just doing the sermon, and then the one that I'm going to share. But in any case, it's. I really hope that you watch it. And so the first time I heard this, I was in the point where like the spiritual war that I was seeing was at its height. Um, it's really hard to explain, but it's like there's these two forces that are fighting over you, and it's not like it seems to be very involved. It seems to be a lot of people, um, which is what it is. But it's hard to kind of grasp. But anyway, where I am in this whole thing, what I see is like basically me laying in a bed, and I'm just like a little kid, and me and the Lord, but you don't really see him or talking. Like I'm like talking and confessing and crying, and he's listening and counseling. And so I listen to this sermon like every day, sometimes multiple times a day, most of the time multiple times a day, for a long piece of time. And I would weep and weep and weep. The first time I heard it, I was at work, and I literally just went to my knees and just bawling. And I guess in God's mercy, or His grace. Like it didn't. I'd been moved to a different department temporarily, and there wasn't anyone around, and there wasn't. So I was able to have that moment, and it be uninterrupted. Um, if anyone saw me, they certainly didn't say anything. Um, but I can remember being so flooded with emotion, just the feeling of guilt, and oddly enough, in the sermon, it talks about that. It talks about the need for that and how that's beneficial, but it also talks about how God didn't do all these things to leave you there. He's not. He doesn't want to just make you feel bad. He he wants to resurrect you. He wants to give you new life, new spirit. And there's a place in the sermon where he's talking about how we quick, and I'm sure you may have said or you've heard somebody say, I prayed like the sinner's prayer, or I did this, and so I'm saved. And he says, I, like I did this, I did that, and David says, no, I need you, talking to God. I need you to cleanse me. I need you to wash me. I need you to fulfill me. I need you to give me joy. I need you to give me wisdom. I need you. And I'm broken over what I can do. And in that part of the sermon, every time he would say that, I'm broken on what I can do. Like, it would hit me so hard because, I was broken over what I could do. Everything that I'd ever done had turned to crap, basically. So it really spoke to me. One, to not lose hope, because I've also seen what God can do. And God can move mountains, stars, whatever. It doesn't matter. There are no rules. He's not going to work outside of His will, which is going to include lying and things like that. But as far as like the physical world and what we see is like what scientists would call physics and all these things, he can do whatever he wants to. So I really hope that you take the time to listen to that sermon, and that you can take from it, you can walk away from it feeling more cleansed, because if you listen to it more than once, like, you'll start to be able to say it along with him because of his cadence and because it's from the heart. It just touches you, and before you know it, you're not just going to be reciting it, you're going to be saying it to God. In it will be impactful. It will help you tremendously. So yeah, I think that's about it. I've thought about people have reaction channels or whatever, like watching this sermon and kind of going through it or whatever, but I don't want to take from it. I want everything that's needed is there. And there's no doubt in my mind that the Holy Spirit was speaking through him at that time. He definitely spoke to me, and he wants to speak to you. So God bless you, and I love you, and have a blessed day.